Woo! All right, I think we finally got it right. What's up? I am Ashlyn Ray, and I'm the ringleader of the Brown Girls Billionaire Gang, but I'll tell you more about myself in a little bit. For right now, I just want to welcome you to beggarmoney.co, how to get business credit and funding even if your credit is completely jacked and you are literally Capital One's most wanted. You know what I'm talking about if it's you. Yes. Yes. All right, so real quick, who am I? I'm not gonna hold you up too long. As a matter of fact, we're just gonna keep this under a couple minutes. But I do want you to know who's talking to you and why you should be, spending the time to listen to me. So I'm Ashlyn Ray. I am the BS bully, and I'm the ringleader of the Brown Girls Billionaire Gang. If you haven't heard about us, ask about us. Now, look, I don't have a crazy, glory story, I didn't live in my car. I wasn't homeless. I was close. I was close. Lord knows, He knows the fight I lived. All right. But, my only story is really I quit a almost a 70K job, but it was a great job at first until I started sucking my soul out. And instead, I left that job to rip my heart out and dump buckets of money into a business that literally set my soul on fire, but unfortunately, it set my bank account on fire too, as well as relationships, friendships, and anything that got in my way because I was determined after making that type of move that I was going to make this work. Unfortunately, I didn't have all of the tools in place. Okay, I wasn't set up for success like you will be if you take these steps to heart. But that's all right. We still moving. I'm still here. I'm still helping. I'm still making bread. So let's talk about some couple fun facts about me. I am a formerly an engineering geek. I'm still very much a geek, just not necessarily doing the engineering part as much. Now I'm engineering businesses. Before I was engineering big, huge naval ships. I am single, although that changes often, the entrepreneur life, unless you was already lucky to be married when you started, and even that can be a challenge, all right? I'm smart as hell, as you can tell by my choice of words, and what you see on the screen may not be what you hear coming out of my mouth because, Facebook, regulations, policies, but whatever. I'm an avid taco eater and Remy drinker, and I have an insatiable desire to kick down doors and face any challenge head on. And truthfully, that is what makes me an entrepreneur at my very core. I set out to solve problems and challenge myself on a daily basis and force myself to grow. It's what I do, it's what I love, and it's when I'm content that I'm completely bored. So, this is the perfect line of work for anybody who is completely insane and literally hates stability. All right, so I got a little bit of street cred. I'm hood famous a little bit, a little sham, you know what I mean? Not all for good reasons. I had my days when I was fighting a lot and doing other crazy things. But if you are holy enough to pray for one and hood enough to slap a hoe, then you are in the right location. Hello, because we about our money at the end of the day. I studied communication to people for over 15 years. I have literally been studying how to communicate with people effectively since I was a teenager, and that was mostly because I thought and processed things much differently than most people. The way that I put things together, the way I formulate things is really different than a lot of other people. And so when you're a smart person and you kind of catch on fast, if I got any fast learners, listening to me right now, then you know how it is to try to explain something that you kind of innately know. So I had to work on how to communicate with people and how to bring forth my social side and not always the more blunt, frank, straightforward, how do we solve this problem side. Now I still go back and forth with that, but it is what it is. I worked before college. I was a whole ass adult before I ever went to college. I already had my own place. I worked, so I know what it's like for both sides of the coin, right? To be a college student, to be a working college student, to be a degree person, as well as someone who, hey, we hustle for hours, right? So another cool thing is, I'm a motorcycle chick. I'm a biker girl, and I will smoke the manliest of the men on my Jixer 1000, my baby Shay Shay. I'm sure there are some who beg to differ, but whatever. I see you on a track. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Yet I was a boxer, boxed for many years, and was really good at it. Never actually lost a fight. So I don't know. It's weird. I create and organize, and I monetize movements. That is my my thing. Okay, that is my thing. It's what I wake up to do, is cause impact and help you cause impact. Now, we're not talking about that today. That's another area of business, but right now I want to really just focus on how to get you started and how to get you started the right way. And if you're not impressed by me by now, it's cool, son. Everybody not gonna like me, man. But look, I am legit. My rap sheet is straight. So ask about me if you really want to know. All right, so let's cut the BS and let's get to it. I'm not going to talk you out of death anymore because I know what you came here for. So get your drinks, get your pens and your paper, and get ready to take some notes. It's going to be a lot of information in a short amount of time, so let's get to it. All right, so first let's just talk about what business credit is. Business credit, I feel like a lot of people, they think that means they got a business credit card, right? So Capital One or American Express or Visa or somebody has given them a credit card with their name and their business name on it. While that is technically a business credit card, it is not actually building business credit, okay? So, now, business credit is actually linked and established for your corporation, okay? So that means it's not attached to you. It's not a personal guarantee. It is not stuck to your social security number, right? It's a separate entity. So what does that mean? It means if your joint goes crashing down in flames, it means that you won't be pegged for it, right? Because it is a separate entity of you and your household, all right? It also means if you give up, if you realize this is not for you, my dear, you can roll with it. If you decide that, hey, this is insanity, being an entrepreneur is insanity, and you would rather just go back to work and, be looking forward to basically happy hours and Fridays, then guess what? You still have a way out and you're not swallowed in debt, okay? Now, your business credit profile, like I said, is a separate profile. It's not linked to you. It allows you to qualify for credit. It allows you to qualify for loans, for company cars, for mortgages such as office and business buildings and things like that. It really does give you double the buying power. But that's if your personal credit is good. Then it gives you like double the buying power. But that's okay because you got time to fix that. Because I always say you can't build a legacy with shitty credit. Okay? Now, that goes for both sides, all right? That goes for both sides. What you will find is that business credit actually gives you more buying power because they approve you for higher loans and higher credit cards. Now, business credit. Now, right now, I know that we are all, most of us, anybody with any, grain of sense is with adversity with President Trump or with Trump or with 45, whatever we call him, the flying peach, the flying cheetah, I don't know. Anyways, my point is that, you don't get to be that rich and bankrupt 15 companies if you did it in your own name. Okay? So same Bill Gates, even Google when they got started, yes, these are startup companies. Some of them use, some of these tech companies have used Kickstarter and crowdfunding and things like that, but it doesn't mean they didn't set out to build their business credit, okay? Because once those initial investments are over and they're scaling and they're growing, you want to have that buying power to be able to scale and grow at any time, okay? Now, what we don't know in our community is that it's a couple things. It depends on what community we're talking about. So if we're talking about the online community, we think that we can start a business. We just need to pitch a tent, put up a sign, and have a laptop. But that's not necessarily the case, okay? So on the flip side of that, the other community, our Black and brown community, we don't realize that we have the power to run a business and do this without doing our own personal credit. We don't realize that we have the access and the power to do something outside of ourselves, especially when it all goes up in flames, right? And I know you're probably like, why you keep saying that? My business ain't gonna go down. But let's be honest, 1 in 3 businesses do fail. So let's look at it realistically. As many of us know, the richest people in the world took many years and several business ventures to figure out what their groove was and what really got them going, okay? So business credit is based on the ability of the business to pay. It is not based on your personal credit. It is based on the ability of the business to pay, okay? Now, let's talk about the benefits. So the benefits is that you do not put your social security number on the app. Why is that a benefit? 1, again, a plane crashes into your building and you go out of business. Guess what? you're not responsible. You're not a personal guarantee. Two, if you have crappy credit, you can still qualify for business credit because you're not putting your social security on the number on the app. It is based on your ability to pay. Now, you have 2 times the credit in the borrowing leverage. Now, that is in 2 ways. One is because business credit allows you to get approved for funding, bigger and larger amounts of funding, because you're operating a business. You're not buying a car, you're buying a fleet of cars, right? You're not buying food, you're buying food for a restaurant. You're not paying just yourself, you are paying a staff, okay? So it allows you that. Now, the other side of that is if you do have great credit, you have the buying power of your business credit, and then you can use your personal credit for your personal things. Now, I know I was brought up thinking that if you paid for everything in cash, you'd be good to go. Well, that is not the case. Credit is king. Let's be honest. I know we hear cash is king, and that's true. You can do a lot of negotiating with cash, but having that credit allows you to not miss out on the opportunities that might be your big break, okay? Your score is based on timely payments, the payment history of the business. So just remember that. Now, also, it takes 6 months to get a personal credit score, right? When you first start out, a lot of people use what the most popular thing now is self-lender, which is a great one, especially if you're just building credit or if you screwed up your credit and now you have to rebuild it. It takes about 6 months to get to an acceptable score where you can start getting fairly good rates, get a pretty good approval odds, right? It takes years of discipline to get a high FICO score, because one thing about it is I think credit, people think that you're supposed to get credit and then they pay the bill. And while business credit could be that simple, that is not the case for personal credit. We have the whole debt to ratio and how much of it are you using and how much of it do you have open and how many times did you apply and how can you use this to work for you. So it's a lot of ins and outs to that, right? It's not so straightforward. Business credit, however, is. Now, in business credit, with business credit, you can have a good score in as little as 30 days, right? So on average, it takes 30 to 90 days to get a score. 30 being pretty fast, because that's based on when the companies actually report to the credit bureau. But 30 is as little as 30 days you can have a score, and 30 to 90 days is about how long the average person takes to get a good score. Now, I've talked about this already, the higher approval limits, right? The Small Business Association says that you get 10 to 100 times the amount of what you would be normally approved in your personal, with your personal credit. And this is somebody even with an 800 score, still applying under business credit would get them 10 to 100 times higher. So you do the math there, right? And there's no reason to check your personal credit. So if you do have some blemishes on your record or whatever, because I'm gonna call a spade because mine is jacked. I'm literally at the time of this this webinar, I'm getting my credit fixed so that I can go back up, because mine plummeted building my business. I poured everything into the business. It was literally like, okay, pay my assistant or skip out on insurance until a next invoice, or go ahead and pay for the designer to go ahead and put this part of the website together because I'm for this thing I'm about to sell, or it was really that type of juggling, right? So you don't want to be in that position. You don't want to ruin your personal credit in order to build your business credit, okay? Or in order to run your business, I should say. You don't want to ruin your personal credit to run your business, and that's where this comes in. And so I am not sure why I have an example of a Best Buy account for initial credit here, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with it. So Best Buy account would be an example of an initial account. But later in this particular class, I'm going to tell you like the rounds of how this works, okay? Now, so having a LLC with a social security number is freaking pointless. What is the point of incorporating a business that you are still personally liable for? It makes no sense. Right now, in the age of social media, where you can start a business if you blow hard enough on Facebook, you're creating businesses in your social security number, and then later on you go get this LLC and it's still attached to you. So it's a lot, right? You don't have to have the guarantee when you have it incorporated, right? So you want to make sure you set it up correctly. There's no liability. I said 1 in 3 businesses fail, but over 90% fail, and that's even the people who failed before they even got started. They were already discouraged. They already didn't have enough money to continue. They didn't have money for the inventory. They couldn't get a proper website set up. they couldn't get marketing set up so that they could drive traffic to their business, whether it's online or brick and mortar. So yeah, it's a pretty high failure rate. I was being generous with one in three, but honestly, yeah, over 90% sounds harsh, but true. All right. And when done correctly, your personal assets cannot be pursued. So this is why it's super, super, super important. It doesn't, like Cardi says, fall down 9, stand up 10, because or get knocked down 9 and stand up 10. I can't even remember what it is at this moment. I can't believe that was like one of my favorite songs. Can't believe I'm sitting here trying to figure out the words to that. But my point is this: you may go through a lot of different businesses before you find the one that is your thing. And so if you're not personally liable for what happens, then guess what? You get another chance. You get to start again. You get to try again. So with business credit, they check your business credit, right? Exactly. That's what it is. They look at your payment history. You if you don't have business credit and you are doing this with your personal credit, you can be denied, right? And or if you get applied, it can be terrible terms. And there's also businesses that do business loans and things like that. I know you probably have heard of some of these other working capital type loans and things like that. If you don't have business credit, they will deny you, right? Because they want to make sure that they can trust you. They need to see some credibility here. We don't want you to just say, oh, you got a business because you popped open your MacBook. They need to know, hey, if I'm giving you $5, $10, $20,000, what are the odds that I'm going to actually get this back? Or at least, what are you doing, as a promissory note to say I'm going to get it back? So the thing is, though, they don't disclose that type of information when they do actually deny you, if they deny you. They don't tell you why. They just say, boom, boom, done. It's not like personal credit. They don't have to tell you why they didn't get the loan. So how do you build it? It's basically the same as a consumer, right? So you have no profile. You get approved for some new credit. It reports to an agency. You pay it on time, and then a positive report is built, okay? So the agency that we're referring to is actually, people always talk about Duns & Bradstreet because that's all they really know about, but there's also Equifax and Experian with business credit, okay? So you get approved for this new credit. It reports to those 3 agencies, all 3 of them, hopefully, or one of 3. You pay it on time, and that report is positive, and boom, you have a good score, right? So let's talk about the business credibility. Again, I'm sorry, I talk fast. I go through it fast. Keep up with me by taking notes, but also if you need to watch it again, no worries. We can absolutely have that sent to your inbox. So business credibility, right? The perception that lenders and creditors have. So regardless of how well or not well you're doing in your business, the perception is what you need to create. You need to look credible. You need to look legit. You need to like you are a business that takes itself seriously. And that's why the steps that we're going to talk about tonight are super, super important, okay? You must meet and exceed all credibility requirements, all right? And there are 20 plus points that creditors and lenders consider, all right? So the thing about it is it's not necessarily written out in plain sight. If you don't know this because someone told you or you're partnering with lenders or something, then, you're kind of out back, for real, for real. I mean, let's be honest, the Good Old Boy Club is not necessarily sharing the secrets with our community, you know what I mean? All right, so let's talk about these points of credibility. So remember I told you it was 20 of them, so we're going to go over quite a bit of them right now. The exact legal name, including your DBA. Now, for instance, I am House of Hustle Incorporated, doing business as Famous Enough. So my umbrella company is a corporation. It's House of Hustle Incorporated, and underneath that I do business as Famous Enough, okay? Now, the reason for that is because my business offers different services, right? So if you were to work with me and my company to build your business credit and get business credit and funding, lenders and funding, then you would be working with House of Hustle, okay? But if you worked with me for any of my marketing services or where I'm marketing and branding your business and your company, that would be under Famous Enough. That's a total separate entity of my business, okay? Now, your corporate documents, right? Corporate documents. So once you file with the state and with the federal government, they send you articles of incorporation. They send you corporate documents. Those are things you're going to need to hold on to, right? Another point of credibility would be your bank statement. So what does that mean? It means you need to have a business account, all right? So licenses, any type of business licenses you need to have. You need to be listed with the 401 directory. Any entity can build credit, but do you want to be liable, right? So a separate entity to be independent, no sole props. Do not be a sole proprietor. That is a failure waiting to happen. You do not want to be tagged to that. That means if somebody sues, if it goes bad, any of that, it's attached directly to you. That directly affects your family, your husband, your wife, your kids, and your livelihood. Okay? So no sole props and partnerships. Do not recommend that. All right. To be legit, you're going to need an EIN. So that's basically like your business's social security number. You're going to get that from the government, from the IRS, irs.gov. Do not pay to get this number. You can get this for free online. You can apply online and get it almost instantly. Okay. You want to make sure that it's correct when they give it to you. You want to make sure that what they have on the paper and what that everything matches up. So when you go to get your bank account, that needs to be correct. Because when you go to open up your bank account, guess what? You're going to need your EIN number. You're going to need your articles of incorporation from the state. All right. And it doesn't matter if you have an employee or not. You can be a corporation of one and you will need these documents. Now let's talk about this business address. That is definitely something that you are going to need to be approved for any type of credit or cash funding. Okay. So it must be a physical address. All right. So don't get confused when we say these virtual addresses or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, you can get a virtual address. Well, you can get a virtual address for like $9 or something a month, but that is not going to be the accurate type of address. You want one that is able to collect your mail and it has a physical location. Don't use a home address or a PO box or UPS address, because though the lenders and even the bank is able to run those, right? We do what we call a skip trace, and they are able to find out that that is not a physical address, and you will be denied for that because it's thinking, hey, you don't have a credible place to run your business, to operate your business out of. Okay, so many lenders, not some, but many lenders won't approve without it. Okay. Now, the virtual address, you can just rent the address. It just needs to have a physical office, meeting rooms, any of those co-op working spaces and stuff like that would work. It usually has dedicated phones and faxes and receptionists. And the cool thing about those type of places is if you need someone to answer or take calls or messages or whatever, you can actually direct them to there, and they do have dedicated people to take those calls and those messages for you. So 411, right? You would think in 2019 we're not worried about 411. Like, what, the 411? Wait, nobody even dials that number anymore. It's kind of like star 69, complete throwback, right? Um, but it has to be listed. You do have to be listed with the 401, and it's not common sense because who the heck thinks that we still use that? But they will verify the listing. Now, this says toll-free number is cool. It is cool, but it must be local for the 411. So what does that mean? You can have two numbers, like a vanity number that initially is basically calling your local number, but it would be a vanity number for that because you're going to need an area code to list that with the 411. All right. So 800 numbers do look good though, right? They provide credibility. The toll-free number provides credibility. Just know that you can't use your home number or your cell phone number. It'll get flagged as an unestablished number. Okay. So just like we can skip trace your address, we can skip trace the phone too. Okay. Now, toll-free is inexpensive and it's easy to obtain. Remember, we're looking for perception. You want to look credible. You want to look like you can do this, like you can operate a business, like you know what you're doing, and you plan on being in business for a while. All right, so let's talk about your website. Now, I know right now a lot of people are running businesses without websites, and that's totally fine, right? We could actually run a business without a website, but for perception and credibility purposes, you want to have a virtual home. You want to own something on the cyber webs. You want to have something that's your real estate. And honestly, even if you weren't trying to build business credit, you still want to have a place to call your own. I don't know if you guys remember the great social media crash 2019 when Instagram and Facebook went down and everybody lost their minds and some people lost their businesses for that day and lost a lot of money. You want to have a place that's still your own so you can still drive traffic and get appointments and consultations and sell products and services and things like that. So the other thing is when you get a website, you will be able to get a legit business email address. I don't want to see anybody sending me anything from wegetyoumoney@yahoo.com or consulting services at gmail.com. Like, no, it needs to be info at yourbusiness.com, your name at yourbusiness.com, or whatever the case, but your business or your true website needs to be in it. It needs to look a professional email address. Anybody can get a Gmail account. That's great. I think I have 30 or more Gmail accounts with about probably 17, maybe 19 of them that I don't even remember the passwords to. So that means it's obliterated, right? Because they don't get enough data from you in the beginning for you to even do like security checks to get it back. So you don't want to lose that. You don't want to risk it. So get yourself a website and then get them to host an email address for you, okay? And also, it's easy as you start to grow your business and you get an assistant and you get other staff members to just add them to the email directory. You just add their name at yourbusiness.com, right? Easy. And I have a good thing to tell you about the website in this, by the way. Also, your bank account. So I know right now everybody is using PayPal and Cash App and Venmo and Zelle, and all that is great. It's awesome. It's a very convenient way to make payments, to send payments, to request payments. But truth be told, a lot of these lenders and the creditors are looking at your bank account as the actual start of your corporation, not necessarily when you got your EIN number. The reason for that is because, well, in a business, it takes money to make money. So that means it should be some type of revenue coming through. So where are you putting it? How are you accounting for it? How are you accounting for your expenses? Okay? So the bank account allows you to start aging your corporation. If you've ever heard some of these scammers with the CPNs and the trade lines and stuff talking about aged shelf corporation, 7-year corporation, blah, 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 that's what it means. So they're reporting something from an account that's been open this amount of years. Now, they would like you to have a high bank balance in that bank account, but you're probably, if you're on here, either you're just starting out or you're trying to keep yourself out of trouble money-wise or cash flow-wise, right? So you might not have a high bank balance, but that's okay. There are ways around it. My company specifically, we actually partner with certain lenders. We know exactly what the underwriting looks like, and so we know the other pieces to put together in order to be able to get you approved for credit and cash funds. The other thing is there's something called a bank rating that many people don't know about. That bank rating is something that lenders use as well. So remember I told you about the 20 points of credibility, or the 20 points of where they're looking at you to see what's going on, right? So 20 points of credibility, basically. The bank rating is one of them. And those bank ratings, it's a very intricate process. It's not something that you personally need to know, as long as you're doing all of the other steps that we've discussed. As long as you set all those things up, then you'll be good and you won't have to worry about the bank rating. But just know that that does exist, all right? And then PayPal names. So the reason I brought PayPal names up is because I feel like a lot of people are running money through PayPal. I've seen people thousands. I mean, even myself, my first year in business, my revenue was just over $50,000, and all of it went through PayPal. Every single dime went through PayPal. And PayPal can shut you down at any moment. PayPal can freeze your account. PayPal sides with the buyers, so any discrepancy, they'll freeze your account. The other thing is they are taking a full 3%, and if you transfer it to your bank account instantly, there's another 1% coming out of that amount. Okay, so you add that up over over a year's time, and we're looking at at $50,000 at 3%. We're looking at $1,500 that I gave away because I didn't have a properly set up bank account. That could have been in my bank account. I could have paid somebody's salary for that pay period. So let's talk about proper licensing. I feel like I touched on this a little bit. So your IRS filings, that's going to be your EIN number, your license and bonds. So if you have a boutique, if you're selling hair, if you're selling any type of physical products, then a lot of times you're going to have a sales type tax license or a retail license, depending on what state you're in. If you are a company that needs bonds, maybe you're an investor, insurance person, anything where like you're going to be liable if something goes wrong, you need a bond. If you have an actual location, maybe you have a restaurant or a food truck or a salon or a boutique or something, you have to have utilities. All that needs to match. Like it needs to be letter for letter, character for character, your business name and information. All right. Same thing for your permits. Anything that you need to operate your business needs to have your exact name listed on it, character for character. So your business credit reports, let's talk about that. Now we have something called Smart Reports. It's not actually sponsored by me. House of Hustle Inc. has nothing to do with that, but it is a website. They charge you about anywhere from $49 to $99 a month for them to pull your credit reports so that you can see what's on it, everything, make sure everything is reported correctly, what your paydex score is, and that kind of thing. Then there is the DUNS number. So that's actually Duns and Bradstreet. That's the name of the company. They're worldwide. It doesn't matter if you're doing business internationally or whatever. It can be reported. Using that number. Then there is Experian. So Experian is just like if you think about personal credit, you have TransUnion, you have Equifax, Equidata, things like that. Experian, same thing for the business credit, okay? Now, then there is dnb.com, which is the actual place where you get your DUNS number, and they'll charge anywhere from 300, and I have 700 here, but honestly, when I set mine up and they were trying to sell me a package, it was anywhere from 300 to $1,800 just to get it set up for you, like, and then there's $50 a month for monitoring. So like, they charge you to set up the initial report just for that, and you don't get anything else after that. So, and I'm here to tell you, you don't have to go through that in order to have everything set up correctly. All right, so now let's get to the meat and potatoes of how to actually build the credit. So I told you everything you need to have. I told you what you need to have in place, what foundation you need, how you need to be set up, how to protect yourself, and now we're going to talk about what to put on the report. So it's basically 3 phases, all right? And in each phase, certain things need to be done in order to do that. So phase 1 is the vendor account. So those are the small accounts to initiate credit and secured cards. So these are net 15, net 30, net 60, and net 90 accounts versus a revolving account. So let me explain. A net 15, 30, 60, 90 account is something where they give you credit for this amount of days and you have to pay it off within that amount of time. Okay, so anywhere from 1 to 14 days, 1 to 29 days, 1 to 59 days, or 1 to 89 days, all right? Where revolving credit is you get a Best Buy card and you get a $5,000 limit on it, you charge something on it, and then you just pay the minimum payment. It's revolving, it doesn't go away, it doesn't expire, right? Now, I didn't even realize. So you have a net account that's net 30. That's a $300 balance. That $300 balance would have to be paid back before the 90 days, all right? And you can get that using only your EIN number and your phone number, basically, if everything is set up correctly. Now, with a phase 1 vendor account, you do not apply with your social security number. This is literally based on your business information. And I have seen my clients go through really fast where they have gotten approved for that first account after everything is set up. Some of them in as little as 1 week, some in as little as 3 weeks, approved for $1,000 accounts that fast with nothing but just having everything set up correctly, right? So your first account activates your profile. So before you have an account on there, just like your personal credit, before you put anything up there, it's basically like you just don't exist. I mean, you're there, but nobody knows you're there, okay? So you want to have 5 accounts on your first, you want to have 5 accounts on your profile to get to phase 2, okay? So 3, you get 3 first, and then you can add the next 2, and that's all under phase 1, all right? You don't need to have 100% of your needs met yet, only because they're not looking at certain things yet, because these are still rather baby accounts, right? So net 30, net 60, net 90. And the other thing is that you have to know which vendors to get the credit with, because a lot of them don't report. A lot of them, it takes, effort for them to actually report to these different credit bureaus. And so you want to know which ones to actually apply with. Now, my company, when we work with our clients, we make sure that we are keeping up with which ones are reporting, which ones have stopped reporting, and who reports the fastest, because remember, we want to build this as fast as we can. So that's one of the advantages of the House of Hustle Inc. Bag of Money program, because we know where to go to get the bag. All right, so the vendor account tips. So first of all, you want to pay on time, right? You want to pay on time. Now, what's really cool about this is that most of them offer vendor accounts, but they don't advertise it. And I'm talking about big companies like Apple and FedEx and Staples, Costco, Walmart, Nordstrom's, and Macy's, even though I know they're about to go out of business at this point, but we still have Best Buy and Target, right? Shell Gas with the fleet gas cars and things. So people who are truckers and have fleet cars for their company, whatever that may be, if they're own a food truck or something of that nature, right? So the revolving accounts, after you have 5 trade lines, and this is actually part of the next phase, you are now able to get the revolving accounts where you're not required to pay in full, right? Meaning you can have $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 in credit, but you are only paying the minimum amount that they're requiring you to do so. Now these come from stores first, all right? So that, again, like just what I was telling you. So Apple, Costco, Walmart, Best Buy, Target, blah, 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 right? Then you can start getting the Visas, the MasterCards, and the Amexes, okay? They will not approve the Visas, the MasterCards, and the Amexes, or the store's credits will not be approved without having some type of credit built up on your business profile. So that's where the vendor accounts come in and why you have to do those first. And, I get my clients will say, oh, well, I don't really need this particular account. And I'm like, okay, we're going to find a reason for you to use this account because this is a good one. It's going to report fast, and you need this if you want to get to the big boys. I have clients who do have graphic design businesses and things like that, and they need MacBooks and extra computers and stuff. And so that's what it is. You got to take the steps. You have to do that. Nobody gets to skip the line. And then once you get 10, right? Once you get 10 accounts, you can start obtaining those credit cards. So 10 revolving accounts. Well, not 10 revolving accounts, but 10 accounts total. So 5 of your vendor accounts and 5 revolving accounts. Now you have 10 trade lines reporting on your business credit profile, okay? And they are going to mimic your store credits. So keep using the credit and keep applying it because as your store credit grows, guess what? If Visa sees that you have $5,000 or $10,000 with your Best Buy, then they're going to be more willing to give you a $10,000 credit card because they're going to mimic what type of credit you already have and the limits that you have. They're going to look at that and observe that, okay? Now, once okay, yeah, so that's when you start doing that. So once you start getting those high limit credits, I'm not sure what happens, so I'm just going to keep talking from here. I'm sorry about that, guys. But once you get the higher limit credits, now you can start getting the cash funding and using lines of credit, 20,000, 30,000. Some I have seen, not my personal client, but I have seen people get approved for $150,000 and $200,000 cash, in less than a year of being in business or 6 months of being in business because they did it right, okay? I have seen it, all right? So being approved for 20,000 and 50,000 to, maybe it's to get inventory, maybe it's to, expand, get a new building, get a new truck, new equipment, pay for some licensing and certifications. Like one of my clients has an IT business, and so she has to pay for different types of certifications to stay in regulation to even teach what she's doing, and it's really expensive. So you don't have to use it all, but you have it available so that you can grow. If you're an online business like myself, where I have a lot of online customers and clients and things, you're going to have solid foundation for you to scale as well. I don't think people understand this. You first have to have a viable product and a viable service, and then you have to have the foundation laid so that it can run smoothly so you're not running yourself ragged. And then you have to be able to grow. You have to be able to market it, have a strategic marketing strategy, and then you have to have the money to pay to implement it, right? And you want to implement it because that equals customers, right? So you don't want to pass an opportunity because you don't have access to funding and credit cards and things like that, all right? So this was the big overview of this, right? But I would be happy to talk to anybody who wants to know more about it, if they want to get more specific to their business, or if they have more questions, that's totally fine. I encourage you to visit www.bagofmoney.co. Set up an appointment. You can chat with me. You can also take my number down. It's 321-234-4399. Again, that's 321-234-4399. You can set up an appointment. If you don't get me, just leave a message. My assistant can set up an appointment and I will get back to you. Now, if you're still here, you're still hanging on here, right? And honestly, regardless, I'm gonna send you an email because I want to know if you have questions. I'm gonna ask you, how can I help you? Is there someone else you know that needs this information? We actually reward people who refer people to me, to us. But I wanted to let you know that if you did decide to hop on a call with me and you decide that, hey, you know what, this is what I need, this is what I want to do so that I can stop calling people, inquire about services that I know I can't afford, so that I can stop trying to barter, so I can stop trying to bootleg my business, because that's what's going to happen if you don't take yourself seriously and put yourself in a place so that you can succeed. You're going to continue bootlegging. You're going to be enrolled in other courses, always trying to learn how to do something with the quick fix. Just go ahead and take that chance on yourself, on your business, right? This is your idea, this is your vision, this is your passion, and you need to give it a fair chance. So for anybody who enrolls with us within 48 hours after you've got the special email with the special one-time price, you're only going to see that price that one time. That is going to be it. It doesn't mean you can't sign up with me. It doesn't mean you can't talk with me. But after that particular special one-time price, that price goes away forever. All right, but we do have other types of things. So if you pay in a one payment option, we offer a good price for that. You do get a little bit of a break on that. And actually, people who pay for one payment, we actually offer a 3-page website for credibility. All right, now that is actually going to be only for the first 10 people who have attended this webinar and who decides to take advantage of that offer. We can't be giving out websites for free forever. All right. At the end of the day, remember, we do this because we are a business, right? We are in business, and so we do want to offer a good incentive and really reward the people who take themselves seriously and jump right on it. The other thing is, you bring your biz bestie and I pay you, and that's what I was telling you about. I treat my referrals like royalty. Trust and believe me. Bring your bestie and I pay you $150. That is my spiel as far as that goes. Again, visit www.bagofmoney.co. My phone number is 321-234-4399. If you need anybody or anything, make sure that you reach out. I'm going to be sending out an email asking if you have any questions and seeing how I can help you. Maybe you're not ready to start within 24 hours, but that doesn't mean I don't want to answer your questions, and I don't want to bring you into the fold of the House of Hustle Inc. and the Brown Girls Billionaire Gang, because, hey, I'm always, always, always hoping that I can help you in some kind of way to succeed, to gain. And for you who are new to me, Brown Girls Billionaire Gang, it started because, I'm tired of everybody saying they want to make 6 figures. 6 figures is great. That's awesome. But this is America. And even if you're in the UK or some other part of the area, it doesn't go that far. And why are we capping our dreams when we can make $1 million or $1 billion? We don't have to put limits on that. We stop, dreaming, and we stop going for the success that we have because we put limits on it. And truth be told, you don't know the plan that God has for you. You don't know the plan the universe has for you. A lot of times we're asking for something and the plan is way bigger than we could have ever imagined. So go ahead and take that chance on yourself. I can't wait to hear from you. Again, my name is Ashlyn Ray, and peace out.